The total economic loss of COVID-19 in terms of GDP and health costs is estimated to be around $16 trillion, according to a study by two Harvard University professors. To put that in perspective, that is 90% of total GDP. Clearly, we need to focus on reopening the economy as soon as possible.
And I'm hearing there's talk about a vaccine passport. What is that?
Yeah, so this is this kind of futuristic idea. Will we actually have a requirement to get a certificate of vaccination before we can do things?
It's pretty clear that vaccination certificates are moving forward. And given that, how do we do it right?
What if we were to be required to prove to employers, airlines, or sporting venues that we're immune to the virus?
I think it's a little premature to be thinking and to be talking about how do we get people these immunization certificates.
The last thing you want to do is create further inequalities and make people feel like they really can't access the same things.
We have to be ready for this to happen in the future. And if we miss the window a little bit and don't make money off it or whatever the financial goal is, some way, shape, or form, we've all realized that this has got to be in place.
So what are vaccine verifications exactly? And can they speed up a return to normal? For herd immunity, between 58% and 94% of the population need to be immune. That means anywhere from 192 to 311 million Americans. As of mid-January 2021, nearly 10 million Americans have received at least their first dose of a COVID-19 vaccine.
While the vast majority of Americans believe that the vaccine is important to facilitate a return to normal life, nearly half plan to defer vaccination for 3 months or up to a year. And so this, I think, combined with the inherent challenge of manufacturing and distributing vaccines, really threatens to slow progress towards herd immunity and ultimately to economic recovery.
That's where immunization verification passports or certificates could come in. Remember the yellow card immunization forms? In the age of a global pandemic, that could be a smartphone application or a QR code on paper.
If we can make it work for travel, I think it allows us to study the technology as well as the validation, as well as the confidence in privacy that will then allow us to think about how do we use this for other things. I don't think it's going to make, and I don't believe it's going to make social distancing and masking go away until we hit herd immunity. But I think it's this process of maybe we can reopen up things a little bit faster.
For nearly 5 years, Dakota Gruner has been advocating for digital IDs as a basic human need, especially in developing countries. She's currently on a WHO-sponsored working group for smart vaccination certificates. Over the course of 6 months, the group is hoping to establish global standards for these types of solutions.
This is a very complex multi-stakeholder effort. Obviously, they're trying to do this at an international level. But the idea is to do something, I think, quite similar to what we've done with ID 2020 certification.
The future does not belong to globalists. The future belongs to patriots. The future belongs...
Have the floor, sir.
Madam President, Mr. Secretary General, world leaders, ambassadors, and distinguished delegates. 1 year ago, I stood before you for the first time in this grand hall. I addressed the threats facing our world, and I presented a vision to achieve a brighter future for all of humanity. Today, I stand before the United Nations General Assembly to share the extraordinary progress we've made. In less than 2 years, my administration has accomplished more than almost any administration in the history of our country. America's so true. Didn't expect that reaction, but that's okay. America's economy is booming like never before. Since my election, we've added $10 trillion in wealth. The stock market is at an all-time high in history, and jobless claims are at a 50-year low. African American, Hispanic American, and Asian American unemployment have all achieved their lowest levels ever recorded. We've added more than 4 million new jobs, including 500,000 manufacturing jobs. We have passed the biggest tax cuts and reforms in American history. We've started the construction of a major border wall, and we have greatly strengthened border security. We have secured record funding for our military, $700 billion this year, and $716 billion next year. Our military will soon be more powerful than it has ever been before. In other words, the United States is stronger, safer, and a richer country than it was when I assumed office less than 2 years ago. We are standing up for America and for the American people, and we are also standing up for the world. This is great news for our citizens and for peace-loving people everywhere. We believe that when nations respect the rights of their neighbors and defend the interests of their people, they can better work together to secure the blessings of safety, prosperity, and peace. Each of us here today is the emissary of a distinct culture, a rich history, and a people bound together by ties of memory, tradition, and the values that make our homelands like nowhere else on earth. That is why America will always choose independence and cooperation over global governance, control, and domination. I honor the right. 2 weeks ago, the United States officially recognized the legitimate government of Venezuela and its new president, Juan Guaido. We stand with the Venezuelan people in their noble quest for freedom, and we condemn the brutality of the Maduro regime, whose socialist policies have turned that nation from being the wealthiest in South America into a state of abject poverty and despair. Here in the United States, we are alarmed by the new calls to adopt socialism in our country. America was founded on liberty and independence, and not government coercion, domination, and control. We are born free, and we will stay free. Tonight, we renew our resolve that America will never be a socialist country.
Is that clear enough for you? Do you have a good understanding of why he was the best president for this country to protect us against what's going on right now? Listen to it. Listen to it again. Biggest mistake between administration and that place they in right now. Wake up.